BSOCA.
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 Getting to know all about you. Getting to like you.
I think art helps students see the world in many different ways. You might have a poet who gives us a perspective on nature. You may have a novelist who gives us more of a perspective on an urban environment. But we need all of those perspectives because that's going to allow us to develop our own opinions.
I think art in education really allows people to do what they want to do. It's express themselves without being criticized.
Without the arts, as a history professor, I can never really get the point across that history is about the human condition. And the human condition is expressed in art, in music, in painting. It helps students as well as myself envision what it is that people were thinking about at the time.
I love Rihanna's latest song, Stay.
I threw my hands in the air and said, show me something.
I wasn't really listening to her music a lot. A lot of it felt like more dance and club type of music that was pretty obvious. But this particular song seems to have a deeper soul to it.
I think music as that universal language is just about expression of emotion, happiness, giddiness, sadness. If I'm listening to dance right now, it's all about David Guetta, the one that he does with Akon.
I'm drawn to older music, and a lot of the music from the 60s, even before, I like 50s. And I think when you think of music from the 60s, you think what was going on then, or you think of music from the 40s, what was going on then. There were wars and there was protests and there was a sort of a social and political standpoint.
I have to hark back to Go Tell on the Mountain, which is a novel written by James Baldwin around 1953. And the story was very relatable, all about a conflicted young man, conflicted between religious issues and a strained relationship with his father. But it's very much about that sort of desire for self-knowledge.
One of my favorite authors and playwrights in college was Tennessee Williams. I really liked Williams' plays because they were so dramatic. There are a lot of critics that view his own sexual identity as being gay as the lens that he sort of created those characters through. The idea that he created these characters through a lens that somehow made them not real kind of makes it fun for us to watch and be a part of.
If I were to name one book in particular that has really shaped me, it would have to be the Bible. It's a book of art, it's a book of history, it's a book of love, it's a book of hate. Because there's turmoil. It's a book of music, it's a book of poetry.
Invisible Man was also influential. I'm reminded of the words by the narrator from Invisible Man. He says, I've always been called one thing and then another, while no one really wished to hear what I called myself. So after years of trying to adopt the opinions of others, I finally rebelled. It's this statement where now I'm gonna try to understand the world on my own terms.
I was interested in American literature because because of the idea that American literature really represents and invites us to explore the question, what is an American in terms of identity?
One sun rose on us today.
We recently had Richard Blanco here, the inaugural poet for Obama, and you see that question in his work. It explores the idea of being raised in Miami, in a place that I was also raised, which was Westchester, and that idea of being Cuban in Westchester.
I couldn't imagine the world without art. It connects people. It's the one form, if I might use that term, that brings us all together, regardless of race, cultural background.
For the most part, art and the arts have sort of given me a language to understand my own experience. As an African American, as an intellectual, and so forth. Without the arts, I wouldn't be able to articulate, I think, that experience and bring it all into a meaningful whole.
Well, a world without art would be, to me, a very mathematical world. It would be very plain, and it would be I don't think there would be any kind of expression. And I really do feel that all of us have this kind of need to express ourselves. So without art, I don't think that we'd be able to do that.